I, Wilsion Toko, being appointed Minister of Uganda, swear that I will at all times well and truly serve the Republic of Uganda in the office of a minister, and that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established, and that I will, to the best of my judgment, at all times when thereto required, freely give my counsel and advice to the chairman of the Military Council, Federal State of Uganda, and his successors in office as by law established, for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Uganda, and that I will not directly or indirectly reveal any matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties and committed to my secrecy. So help me God. Oath of allegiance. I, Wilsion Toko, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God. Cabinet oath. I, Wilsion Toko, being appointed a member of the Cabinet, swear that I will not directly or indirectly reveal such matters as shall be debated in the Cabinet and committed to my secrecy. So help me God.
I am George Kagwa from Nasi. Mine are mainly observations. As far as I know and as far as I gather people's views, the people who have been messing with the affairs of Uganda since October 9, 1962 are known to be PCs. And each time we make a new appointments, they are the ones who come in bigger numbers even now and then. And people very often fail to trust you when you say that the UPC government was bad, when the same people are being brought back every now and then. So we should make sure that the people who have been associated with wrongdoing are kept in arm's length. I am not against them, but that's the view. And it is very popular among the people because we drink with them, we work with them in taxis, we are at burials together with them, and I don't know whether many of you go to people of that nature, so they tell us.
When you come to appointments, that's where I differ with you to a great extent. You see, the mistake that some Ugandans made is to talk about wholesale condemnation. Because Obote is a Lango, therefore all Langi are bad. Because Obote was heading UPC, therefore all UPC are bad. Because so and so comes from here, therefore all that group is bad.
I queried the number.
Just let me finish. Therefore, it is important to understand that these slogans, these colors we put on our faces, on our backs, these are artificial pictures which should not take us away from the real objective of building a united Uganda. I'm not going to sit here and deceive myself that because UPC has been ruling since independence, therefore they have messed up all the affairs of the country, and therefore they should never be allowed to hold any position anywhere. Now, who are the UPC? They are Ugandans. Some of them, yes, played negative in the development of Uganda. There are others who contributed positively. So I think we must see some of these appointments in that light, that we are picking from all corners, and let's even assume that there's a very staunch UPC who is so allergic to anything that is an UPC until that man is seen to be performing negatively. Won't you be ready to convert him on your side? Until you prove he's unconvertible? So we must learn that the call which Mzee Tito made, to me, signifies the importance of how many of us must make decisions wherever we are. There must be no wholesale condemnation of individuals or groups of individuals. We must analyze each person's performance on merit, where he has gone wrong, where it is definitely known that he is sabotaging. Of course, I said here that some former ministers are known to be recruiting. We have got names of some of these ministers, and a person like that, I can say, it would be wrong for the council to put him in a key position. But there are others who performed during UPC government, and indeed many of us here held some positions of one kind or another in this country when UPC was in government. Some of you have been doing what you are doing now in all these governments. Does that make you a shifter with with one or all bodies? So I would like to say that the appointments are considered thoroughly before somebody's name is made or made known to the public. And where he plays a negative role, he will be removed.
You are aware that the man now we say is the spokesman of Military Council has said that Ugandan journalists are irresponsible, and that is why he left the Uganda Journalists Association. Now, how do you expect us to really work hand in hand with a man who does not respect, obviously, the press here?
All I can say is that I hope that in the interest of Uganda, members of the press will not allow their personal prejudices to come to bear in the conduct of our relations. We have created that department in a very good faith to try and bring members of the press closer with the council so that you don't look for us. Instead, you always get us. You are all Ugandans, and it goes without saying that over and above your roles as pressmen, you have to play your role as Ugandans as well, because the peace process does not exclude you. Last one.
This concerns discipline in the army and the court-martial that you said you are planning to set up shortly. People are complaining that soldiers go on the rampage, then some of them get picked up and they are thrown into whatever jails they have for a couple of weeks. Then they come out and start doing the same thing again. The other day when there was the stampede in Kampala, I went down to the scene where a soldier was said to have injured a fishmonger. And people said they knew of a case where one man in the army has killed 3 people. And he's out wearing his uniform and carrying the government, the gun. And he's boasting. Now, are you, in the light of this, proposing to introduce any very, very curly punishments for offending soldiers? Because some people have been saying that maybe you would think of a firing squad, executing some of them, or anybody who is, any armed thug by firing squad.
Starting with your second question, let nobody get a wrong get a wrong idea about a court-martial. A court-martial will give full legal rights to whoever is being tried. So if somebody has committed a crime, a soldier has committed a crime, it is not that there's only one punishment, which is firing squad for every crime. No. The level of punishment will be determined by the offense, the nature of the offense committed. The same way that, when you are taken to civil court, they don't just tell you every case brought here must be 10 years imprisonment.
But can I ask a supplementary question? I'll make a brief comment.
Yes.
So the reason why I brought up this idea of very stiff punishments is this. You would agree that Uganda is in a very unique position. We have been so brutalized over the years. As you yourself said, there are so many guns around. And you said maybe some of these people who are shooting people are not necessarily members of the armed forces. Now, some theorists have told us that violence had its therapeutic value sometimes. And we have heard of cases like in Zaire, around about 1967, was it? When some people were hanged publicly. If they were caught, they were calling them bandits. Not in the sense that we were using it until July, but that kind of thing. And here we have people who rape, who kill people, and sometimes get away scot-free. And when they are picked up, we understand some of them have been held in Ruzira for merely a few weeks or a few months. Then they come back, they get their uniforms.
Let me correct you. Since 27th, some of these things you are talking about may have happened before the coup. And I don't want this government to be judged by what happened in previous governments. Okay? When we have given you our intentions, I think it is too presumptuous to start speculating what is likely to happen. Give it a chance. If it's going to fail, you will be there to ask me the same question another time. But let's not, judge things because 2 years ago things were like this, therefore we don't think this is going to succeed. And executing a person is not going to be the answer to every problem. But what we are saying is that there must be a commitment on the part of government to award the appropriate punishment, which must be seen to be implemented effectively.
Well, we have come to the end of this press conference. I must thank very much the Vice Chairman of the Military Council for the way he has told you and in very clear terms of what is happening. From here, we hope that you journalists will liaise, as it has been said, for proper information.
Over the past few days, there's been a lot of confusion in Kampala, in the sense that a lot of rumors have frightened people away from their businesses and from their ordinary life, from the town running to the villages. For instance, today there was a rumor that certain members of the military council had resigned. As a result of this, a lot of people ran from town. Later, there was an announcement on the radio to say this was not true. Similarly, there have been a lot of rumors about various groups, for instance, the Anyanyas who have come into town, or the NRA who are soon coming into town. This has frightened all citizens. We are therefore honored tonight to have with us members of military council who are going to throw some light on some of these rumors and who are going to tell us what exactly is happening and what is being done by the military council to achieve safety for all the citizens of the country. In the studios with us, we have Colonel Toko, who is the Vice Chairman of the Military Council and Minister of Defense. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers and listeners.
We also have Lieutenant General Basilio Olara Okello, who is the Chief of Defense Forces and member of the Military Council. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
We also have Honorable Ojok Mulozi, who is the Minister of Information and Broadcasting. And with me we have members of some of the press agencies here in Kampala who are going to be talking to the members of the Military Council. I'll start with Colonel Toko straight away. Colonel, you have just returned from talks in Nairobi, and we are a little bit scared because there have been rumors that the talks have failed completely, and NRA and UNLA have not seen eye to eye. Now, what prospects do you see in these talks?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I must say that our trip to Nairobi was a continuation of a negotiating process that has been taking place between the Military Council and all the fighting groups. We have had, in the past 2 weeks, discussions with 4 groups. Namely, on the 14th of August, we met a group called FUNA, which stands for Former Uganda National Army. On the 16th of August, we had a meeting with the UFM, Uganda Freedom Movement. On the 18th, we met UNRF, which is Uganda National Rescue Front. And then on the 19th, we met FEDEMO, which is the Federal Democratic Movement of Uganda. Therefore, our going to Nairobi was to have a meeting with the NRA. I returned with my delegation yesterday evening, and as it has already been announced on the radio, the talks were adjourned to give both sides time for further consultations. I would like to emphasize this point, that the talks were not adjourned because we failed to reach any understanding. The discussions were held in a very brotherly atmosphere. We had 2 days discussion under the chairmanship of the President of the Republic of Kenya, and the talks will continue next week. So those who are spreading the rumor that the talks have failed completely and so on, I think don't wish us well for peace in Uganda.
We are hopeful that the brotherly spirit that is being portrayed by Ugandans sitting around the table will result in a full resolution of this issue.
Colonel Toko, can you give us an indication of length of time when you think you can agree with NRA?
Well, length of time I can't give you precisely, but we hope as soon as possible. As you know, the Council has made it absolutely clear that to have a lasting peace in Uganda, we must involve all forces at play. When I say all forces at play, this includes NRA. And let no Ugandan deceive himself or herself that by striking peace with one group only, you have solved that problem. I'm glad to say that 3 groups, or rather 4 groups, have come forward. They have surrendered their arms to us, as well as their fighting forces. But I would like to make one point clear, particularly in regard to UNRF and the FUNA. There has been a lot of rumors going on that Anyanyas are being brought back or that Amin's men are coming back. Well, first of all, there's no such a thing as Amin's men or Amin's army. These people who are being called Amin's army started their career in the military even during the British days. They served under the British, they served briefly under the Prime Minister then during a self-government, Kiwanuka. They served under Obote, they served under Kabaka, they served under Amin, and some of them continued thereafter. Now, it's very strange for somebody just to pick out of all these one president and they say that army is his. Secondly, we feel that every Ugandan is entitled to live in Uganda in his own right. Therefore, our call to all Ugandans living outside Uganda to come back is a very genuine call to all citizenry. And we are very much aware that some years back there were elements in our national army that were not citizens of Uganda. And those are not the people we are welcoming back. I don't think the military council is so naive as to compound its problems by bringing back people whom we know very well had created a lot of problem in this country. Now, if amongst the citizens who are coming back, there are people who committed known crimes and there's enough evidence to bring them to book, certainly the law will take its